Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo!
The iPhone X was released as a more budget-friendly option to the iPhone SS and SS Max back in late 2017, and it was a simple but impressive upgrade over the iPhone 8 Plus, bringing optical image stabilization on both the rear-facing camera lenses, along with an overall much better camera in general. And beyond just that, it improved the speed and battery optimization with its A11 Bionic chip being just about every bit as powerful and impressive as the Fantasy SS model, just with a lower quality display and lack of larger camera sensors. Hey, how is it going? I'm Explorer Maker, and while the iPhone X is somehow already approaching 5 years old, it still remains a fast and reliable smartphone, even being sold by Apple themselves up until late 2018. You either own an iPhone X or don't own an iPhone X. If you do own one and you are thinking about upgrading, maybe it's a decent time if you have the money for it. An iPhone 11 Pro or better gives you a pretty good upgrading camera quality, battery life, the display. That being said, the iPhone X as it stands right now is still a perfectly capable phone and one that's not failing its age. You don't need to upgrade yet, absolutely. If you are content with the iPhone X right now, keep on using it. Now, what if you don't have an iPhone X? If you are lucky, you might be able to see the iPhone X in some retailer shops who haven't managed to clear out their inventories, in which case you might get a discount or a deal which could be pretty tempting. Otherwise, if you are looking to buy the iPhone X, you are likely to look at the used market. If we go to say ebay.com, looking at used and refurbished, you can see that the iPhone X hovers around 170 to 200 US dollars. I have seen some very overpriced and I've seen some close to that $200 mark, which for a phone in good condition is pretty decent deal. After all, the iPhone X is still a very much capable phone, and that fact won't be changing many times soon. If you need a budget phone and aren't concerned about the newest camera features or the highest quality display, this might just be the perfect smartphone for you. If you are someone using the iPhone X right now and you are wondering if you need to upgrade, I mean that depends on your individual situation, but generally I would say the phone should be holding up pretty smoothly, assuming you have a healthy battery. Under settings, battery health, you will see the percentage right there. If it's around the 80% mark or getting there, you might start to experience poor life and even slow down. There also may be pop-up little message saying you need to get your battery serviced, which Apple will do for $70. Assuming you have a healthy battery, the iPhone X doesn't bring too many drawbacks. It's still quite fast and it should be getting multiple years of software support, plus even longer in security updates. The camera is what I would consider good enough for both the rear end and the front. You do have the LCD screen and not as many pixels as better iPhones, but that might be a worthwhile trade-off for one of the best budget smartphones you can get. The iPhone X stands as a great value option in 2023 and worth buying for anyone who is comfortable enough with buying the used or refurbished in the first place. It's older, but the phone as a whole does not have a lot of life left to give. So with hopefully some of the easy answers out of the way, let's take some time here to take a look at the iPhone X more in depth. As today we ask the question, how does the iPhone X hold up in 2023? Just because Apple says you are too old to sell doesn't mean you are too old to use, and the iPhone X is one of the best selling, most common iPhones you will ever see, thanks to what was always a mostly fairly price tag. Sure, you were paying the Apple tax, but that goes for anything you are buying from Apple, regardless of how it looks. Not that this is an ugly phone, but even as someone who quite love this, I have to admit that they don't hold a candle to how sleek phones have gotten and will continue to get. The iPhone X has a curve in all the right places, with a chunky stainless steel frame and glossy glass back. You are going to probably want to use a case with this phone. Glass is glass and definitely cracks. We do get a wireless charging though, which is nice along with fast charging if you have got the right accessories. We do also have water resistance here, so a drop in the toilet won't be the end of the world. Don't do that. Turning to the front of the phone, we have the same 5.8 OLED display that was seen on the iPhone SS. This is a good screen with too low resolution, but it still does the job without visible pixels or really anything out of the sort. For the vast majority of users out there, it's going to do more than enough, and it's only those who will look too closely or are already used to a phone with better screens, they might end up distracted by it. The core aspect and hardware of iPhone X is still much very solid and capable in 2023. The iPhone X and its A11 Bionic chipset is no slouch, along with the 3GB of RAM, but we don't have the 5GB networking here. The iPhone 12 was the first iPhone to bring it. Personally, I still find that LTE is fast enough, but it's worth nothing. No 5G on the iPhone X. There is no question, like things like the design and the display are pretty vital to the smartphone experience. The different users all have their own individual taste, tolerance, preference for what a phone needs to do perfectly and what is needed to do just good enough, and the definition of good enough is going to be very widely. I do believe that majority of the people, however, that the most important aspect of a smartphone tend to boil down to a few key factors. The phone needs to be fast and reliable in accomplishing daily tasks, and yes, the iPhone X have it in spades in spite of its age, yet it's approaching 5 years old. And for some phones, that could be a bit of death sentence. Whereas the iPhone X will not only get the iOS 17, but potentially even more multiple years of software support along with the security updates. Apple is crazy good with this sort of things, and the iPhone X is fast practically speaking here. It could do pretty much anything my iPhone 11 Pro could do. It can download the same app, it can do the same things, play the same games, and this leads us back into what we need to be good and what needs to only be good enough. So speed and reliability. You also need decent battery life, which certainly will be the case with the iPhone X, assuming that the battery has a good health, as we talk about. And then finally, a lot of people want their phone to have a good camera. We live in a world where the vast majority now rely on their smartphone for photos in every situation, whether on vacation, with families, with friends, you name it. There is no reason most people need to have every single little new feature for their camera along with a half dozen lenses on the back. But people do want a camera that's able to consistently take photos, and when it came out in 2017, the iPhone X was most certainly able to do that. Cameras and smartphones have improved massively. Even if we compare it to the iPhone 11 Pro, we can see that while the iPhone X is obviously losing here and it's at a significant disadvantage, it's still able to capture an image that focuses on the object just as well as the iPhone 11 Pro does. Maybe yes, it's a bit sharper on the 11 Pro. Maybe it's a bit prettier because of the thanks of the bigger sensors. Whatever you think, but the iPhone X is still taking a photo that looks good, not that far off from the iPhone 11 Pro, and even better, just at the fracture of the cost. You will have to stick with the main lens on the iPhone X for most parts, as it is easily the better quality camera, taking sharper shots, but the telephoto lens is there, which magnifies your subject. You can get some really nice looking pictures in the right condition, those conditions being like with every other smartphone, somewhere with abundant lighting, outdoor during the daytime or something. It's once we enter low light, the iPhone X quality starts to kind of show its age a bit. And yeah, video is also great. We are capable of recording in 4K 60 frames per second. Apple always have been best with the video. And yes, it's worth buying an iPhone X in 2023 because of the camera quality in daytime and the display.